Imagine this. You walk into a dealership in 2026, excited to finally trade in your gas guzzler for a shiny new electric vehicle. You've done the math, you'll save money on fuel, you'll be helping the environment, and hey, EVs are the future, right? But then the salesperson hits you with the price. That SUV you had your eye on? It's jumped by nearly $10,000 compared to today. Suddenly, the so-called affordable electric dream feels like it's slipping away. And the culprit? Not just inflation, not just supply chains, but something a little more complicated. Tariffs. A nickel tariff war, to be exact, playing out between the United States and its closest ally, Canada. Yes, you heard that right. Not China, not Russia, but Canada. And the ripple effects are reshaping the very backbone of the EV industry in North America. This isn't just about economics. It's about the cars you and I will drive, the jobs that keep communities alive, and the future of clean energy on our continent. So today, let's break it all down. Why nickel suddenly matters, how this tariff fight erupted, and most importantly, what it means for the future of electric vehicles. Before we dive deep, if you're enjoying content that explains these big global shifts in plain, human terms, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button and share this video with someone who might also be curious about what's going on. It really helps the channel grow and it keeps these discussions alive. Thanks so much. Now, back to our story. For decades, the flow of nickel from Sudbury, Ontario down to Detroit was one of those quiet success stories of North American trade. Every year, about 185,000 tons of nickel-copper ore crossed the border, fueling America's battery plants and supporting a trade artery worth nearly $4 billion. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't political, it just worked. But that all changed in August. With the stroke of a pen, Washington imposed a 20% tariff on electric vehicles, not just targeting China, as many expected, but Canada too. There was no exemption for America's closest trading partner, no quiet carve-out for the nickel lifeline that had supported decades of cooperation. Just a blunt tariff wall. The impact was immediate. To give you a sense of the numbers, a typical 86 kilowatt EV battery pack needs around 38 kilograms of nickel. At current prices, that's about $775 worth of metal. Add the new tariff? Suddenly, you're paying over $1,000 per battery, an extra $230 in cost just like that. Now, that may not sound earth-shattering, but here's the kicker. For automakers like GM, those added costs/profit margins from 10.1% to 8.3%. And in the razor-thin world of car manufacturing, that's a huge red flag. Analysts estimate this policy alone could kill off nearly 94,000 EV sales in 2026. Fewer sales, higher prices, less competition. That's not a win for anyone. So how did Canada respond? Not with shouting matches or fiery speeches, but with cold, strategic precision. Ottawa pulled together a 4-point playbook. A 15% export tax on raw nickel, cutting off American cathode makers from cheap supply. A carbon tracking system that gives Ontario's clean, hydro-powered nickel an edge in global markets while making dirtier imports wait in line. A $257 million investment fund to accelerate non-nickel batteries like LFP, reducing future dependence. And generous tax breaks to anchor big new battery plants in Canada, like the massive Stellantis LG cell facility in Windsor. The result? Billions of dollars in potential exports that used to flow south are now being redirected to South Korea and Europe. In just the first half of 2025, Canada's nickel sulfate exports jumped by 23%. The US, its share of that clean supply shrank, while Germany and Seoul welcomed it with open arms. Here's where the story takes an even sharper turn: the environmental angle. Ontario's nickel is among the cleanest in the world, just 4.2 tons of CO2 per ton of metal, thanks to hydro and advanced electrolysis. Compare that to Indonesia's 36 tons of CO2 or China's 18 tons. And this matters because in 2026, Europe will start enforcing a carbon border tax of about $115 per ton of CO2. which means if US automakers are forced to rely on dirty nickel, their cars could be slapped with hefty surcharges just to enter European markets. In other words, America risks pricing its own EVs out of the very markets it's trying to compete in. Now, let me pause here and ask you, what do you think? Should the US be doubling down on tariffs to protect its industries, even if it risks alienating close allies like Canada? Or should it take the smarter route and carve out special exemptions for trusted partners? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear where you stand on this, because this debate isn't going away anytime soon. Meanwhile, automakers aren't waiting around for politicians to make up their minds. GM has already cut its 2026 EV production forecast from 360,000 units to 310,000. That's a $3.2 billion shift in the wrong direction. And Ford's F-150 Lightning? It's now projected to hit $72,500 by early 2026, turning what was supposed to be the people's electric truck into a luxury item. Ironically, the gas-powered F-150 XLT remains cheaper over its lifetime, making the green choice harder for ordinary families to justify. Consumers lose, automakers lose, and the environment loses. Canada, however, is adapting fast. Instead of begging Washington for exemptions, Ontario is pivoting eastward. Europe's Green Deal is hungry for clean minerals, and Canada's nickel fits perfectly. South Korea has already boosted its imports from Ontario by nearly 18% since March. While the US builds tariff walls, Canada is building bridges. And in this mineral chess match, Ottawa isn't a pawn anymore. It's controlling the center of the board. What's most striking is how nickel, once seen as just another industrial metal, has suddenly become a bargaining chip in geopolitics. It's no longer just about cars and batteries, but about alliances, climate policy, and global supply chains. And here's the irony. Tariffs were meant to shield American workers and industries. Instead, they've raised prices, scared off investors, and handed leverage to America's closest neighbor. So, what happens next? Washington has three choices: carve out a Canadian exemption, keep the hardline stance, or find a messy middle ground. Analysts think option 1 or 3 are most likely, but there's still a real risk of escalation. And while politicians debate, the clock is ticking. Every year lost to higher costs and lower EV adoption is another year the US falls behind in the clean energy race. Canada, meanwhile, is pressing ahead, investing in clean technologies and securing its spot in the global supply chain. Ontario's nickel is no longer just a commodity. It's a strategic asset shaping the future of transportation. Here's the bottom line. The nickel tariff war isn't really about nickel at all. It's about vision. It's about whether North America can build a future on cooperation and clean energy, or whether it'll stumble into self-sabotage through short-term nationalism. And if you've made it this far into the video, thank you. I really appreciate your time and attention. If you found this breakdown useful, please consider giving it a like, hitting subscribe, and ringing that notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. It really helps me keep creating thoughtful content on these big global issues. And as always, thank you so much for watching.